Amen.
Our pledge will be led by Commissioner Stephen Stokes of the 1st District.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Roll call. Dana Ferguson. Norman Frazier. Darrell Hicks. Terry Keane.
Here.
I think, okay,
I'm working on it.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a quorum. We got 12 present, 13 present, and 5 absent.
No,
We got 3, hang on, that didn't do right.
15-3.
Okay, 15 present, 3 absent.
Okay, next is the approval of our agenda. I need a motion. I have a motion by Commissioner Stokes and a second by Commissioner Nunnery. All in favor?
Please vote.
Please vote. Any opposed? Okay, the agenda is approved. Next is Citizens Forum, and we only have one name on it tonight, which is David Tuck. David, would you please come forward?
Good evening, y'all. My name is David Tuck. I've represented this county for over 28 years in the emergency services. I've been in some high-profile situations here in this county, and I'll get into that here in a minute. We're going to talk about risk versus reward tonight. I'm looking at wondering why we're not giving back to the people, more to the people that are risking their lives on a daily basis for this community than what we're receiving just from the budget committee. And again, I'm going to not try to stir up nothing tonight. I'm going to reference some key points. But you know, when a lot of y'all were at home, working from home, we were out here still doing our job as first responders during COVID. We put our life on the line every day. One of the profile calls, I represent the Eva Fire Department as a fire chief. I'm with the Benton County Rescue Squad. I'm also on the City Fire Department of Camden. A couple of situations we've been in, you know, and we'll talk about risk versus reward. Well, the City of Camden, about a year ago, went out and bought bulletproof vests for all their firemen. We joked about it, thought we'd never have to use that. Well, lo and behold, we had a standoff in Benton County, working right along with the Sheriff's Department. We were called in while they were still doing the standoff. Go in, the house was on fire, we put the fire out. Rounds went off. I'm not going to say we were shot out, but rounds went off, but we were all protected. At the end of that call, the Sheriff's Office didn't even realize we were wearing bulletproof vests, and at that time, we had better vests than what they did. So what kind of risks are we putting our own law enforcement in situations like that? I think some of that has been addressed since then. Another situation, we were able to go in, working along with the Sheriff's Office again, was able to go inside of a building. 3 of us went through a window, 2 of us went through the front door. Pulled a gentleman out, gave him a little bit longer chance at life. But again, another risk that we took to save our community, representing what the group that y'all represent. Then let's move on to the nearest one, the Waverly flood. Sheriff's Office, Rescue Squad, Fire Departments, we all responded from our county. We ended up in Cash Saver parking lot over there. As they backed their boat in, the water was so swift, they got their boat unloaded before the rescue squad did. And 3 of them on that boat went off the edge of the water downstream, not to know if they were still alive or not. So we unloaded our boat. We tried several attempts to get to one person in a tree, could not make it. Ended up getting inside Cash Saver and checking on the people. We could not bring them out at that time, but yet we still attempted. We made communication with them. After the waters went down, the Sheriff's Office bunch and the group that I was with, we made 2 recoveries of two little babies that was still in the buildings back there. Again, another high risk that we took to represent Benton County. Y'all had an opportunity a while back to pass along some grant money towards the fire departments. You chose not to. How many of y'all actually read the COVID rules? How many of y'all done your research on the COVID rules? Did anybody? I did, and I'm not a commissioner. I talked to people across the state, representatives, trying to figure out what it could be used for. I think it's page 23, paragraph section 3, and that page 23, 26, clearly stated it could be used for first responders, nonprofits, to help buy equipment. This right here, I've had this since I've been on the fire department since 2006. It's out of date, it's out of compliance. Somebody tell me how much you think this is worth. Take a guess. This is the air pack that we wear inside house fires.
The new one's about 7,000-8,000 more.
The ones I'm looking at, because they have thermal imaging built into the mask, we're looking roughly at 10,000 plus spare bottle and mask. Turnout coats, pants, boots, gloves, helmets, $2,500. That's nearly $12,000 sitting in this floor. The budget committee does a great job with what they have to give with us. They give us $26,000. You know how far that goes?
Insurance?
$19,000 for my insurance. I have 2 stations. Can anybody that's in my district, where my fire department is, tell me the assets that the fire department has? Can you tell me the asset that the fire department has in your district that you represent?
I can.
The people.
Some can, but I'm asking y'all to start doing your homework a little bit better. In 4 years, I have yet to have the first one come to my fire department and ask me, what can we do as commissioners to help? Again, the money that the budget committee gives, $19,000 for insurance, I have a $5,000 truck payment. I got $3,300 in utilities. So tell me how else I can buy the needed equipment. My family values my life. They want us to come home. The law enforcement's families value their life. They want them to come home. And you know, what is the county saying to us? Everybody needs things. When you're looking at industry, one thing they're going to ask is, what can the electric company provide for my business that I want to bring in here? They're going to go to the water utilities. What can the water utility do for my industry or my business? What can the wastewater plant do? Can it take my stuff or does it need to be pre-treated? What's that last one? They're going to ask you what the ISO rating is to the fire departments in that area. ISO ratings play a key role in bringing industry into this town. So if we can start fixing some of this, we're going to have to start working together, put our personal agendas aside, and start becoming a team again to represent the citizens of Benton County a little bit better. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Next on the agenda is the Commissioners' Forum. Do we have a commissioner that would like to speak about anything? Okay, Commissioner Preston.
Thank you, Chairman. Our Benton County citizens deserve an explanation directed in letter form from the State of Tennessee Governor's Office as to why gas prices in the city of Camden are so much higher than gas prices in Paris. Watching the prices in both Camden and Paris, July 5, 6, 7, and 8. Camden was in and around $4.30 a gallon, $4.29 a gallon. The same 4 days, Paris prices were $3.99. The same 4 days, $3.99, excuse me. July the 6th, Wheel Express, Patriot Mart, gasoline prices was $3.65 a gallon. That's right at 65 cents cheaper than what we're buying here in Camden. Just today, Camden gas prices are in and around $4.01 to $4.03. You go to Paris, Patriot Mart again, $3.37. Casey's in Paris, 374, Casey's in Camden, 403. Department of Agriculture, Office of Weights and Measurements. Their job is to enforce the price advertised by these stations for a gallon, and that is actually what the consumer is receiving. They refer to the Tennessee Department of Consumer Affairs. They give a telephone number. I was told by Consumer Affairs that no good reason for the price differences. I encourage seeking an answer through the governor's office, and I ask you, the mayor, to pass this on to you and see what you can have done. One more short subject. I side with the citizens. This is about the beacon light out at the water tower at the industrial park. Airport subject. I side with the citizens of the airport community. Not just one, but there are many citizens concerned about the beacon light. W.C. Trudell, a good friend of all of us. His voice is representative of many citizens at the airport community that does not want the beacon light moved from the industrial park water tower back to the airport site. The Tennessee Department of Transportation of Aeronautics, Chuck Hoskins and Jim Curry have been talked to, both out of this Department of Transportation. Any changes to that beacon light has to be coordinated with the Federal Aviation. And any changes has to come from your county mayor. And it started 6 months ago, so it started under the interim mayor. No complaint in the last 20 years has been filed with the Department of Transportation as with the light where it's at right now. Both these men stated the beacon light was a mess. The beacon light was a disaster when it was located 20 years ago at the airport. If you've been told a light illuminated the entire inside of a home after the dark, they said it was true. Department of Transportation have not been given a reason for wanting to relocate the beacon light, nor has the Department of Transportation. They're happy, they're satisfied that the beacon light remain where it's at. One more, Chairman. Climavision. Climavision is the radar system to more easily see tornadoes that we voted on a contract with them last month. Talking to them, they expressed the beacon light and the Climavision radar system can coexist on the same water tank. Right now, Climavision is waiting on a structural analysis if that tower can hold up the water tank. They suspect that news will be good. Climavision was asked by one of our mayors. I don't know if they're talking about Brett Lashley or Randy Shannon. One of those mayors asked Climavision if the company, while constructing their radar system, if they could take down the beacon light. I asked the mayor to greatly consider leaving the light on the water tower. I asked the mayor to coordinate with the airport community and satisfy these folks. So let's not, again, use the excuse of the Climavision radar system as a reason for moving the beacon light back to the airport. Spokesperson for Climavision, this is done in many communities. Water tanks sharing their space for multiple projects. Chairman, I yield the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Preston.
I have a question for Commissioner Preston.
How you're recognized?
Was there a reason given for wanting to move the beacon in the first place? I mean, did whoever wants to move it from the water tower give a reason why that should happen?
I can't answer your question. I don't have an answer.
Okay.
Commissioner King?
I don't, not much of a question, but a statement. If they're going to share the platform, we need to make sure that the beacon is taller than the radar system, or else you won't be, it'll be blinded from one side. So, something to think about.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, we'll move on then to number 4 on your agenda. First of all, Attorney Johnson, do you have anything you'd like to say? Okay, then I'll turn it over to Mayor Lashley.
Special guest here tonight, so I want to make sure I introduce him properly, but I also will address some of the inquiries already made in our citizens and our commissioners forum. Starting with the citizens forum, when it came to the volunteer fire departments and our rescue squad. Now, before I left on the deployment, we knew that ARPA was going to have a clause that addressed public safety. And if y'all remember, before we left, although it was probably more symbolic than it was authoritative or contractual, we passed a resolution basically committing to the fact that we would support our volunteer fire departments and our rescue squad via the ARPA grant. I think at that time we had probably gauged at about $75,000 for each volunteer fire department in the rescue squad. So I knew enough about ARPA before I ever left that the public safety element would cover any type of financial commitment that the counties made. We did the same thing for our water and utilities that were coming down. But in the course of my departure and my return, I know that there were a couple meetings where it was claimed that the mayor didn't know what he was talking about, that ARPA wasn't going to cover those particular elements. And for some reason or the other, rather than educate ourselves to the rules, we went ahead and bought into the financial commitment of taking those dollars away from that previous obligation and directing them to actually the old Walmart building. So right now we're sitting on $983,000 or $980, give or take a little change, of committed ARPA money towards the old Walmart building. And I've told y'all that I'm not going to spend another penny on that building until we have a clear-cut plan. I prefer to sell it. But the fact of the matter is we have plenty of time to devise a financial strategy for the Walmart building. We don't have that time to dedicate to supporting our volunteer fire departments and our rescue squad, the sheriff's office. So my proposal would be that we take $900,000 and dedicate that to the volunteer fire departments and the rescue squad. That's basically $100,000 each. As Chief Tuck has already told us, that before you ever walk out the door, you've got $12,000 or $13,000 on your body right there. So even though you take 9 or 10 members of a volunteer fire department, we're already short, but these monies only come around ever so often. And this is why we have to take the opportunity to use the ARPA money now to dedicate and devote to supporting those elements in our community that equate to our public safety. So personally, we've got a plan. We know, we've discussed this well over a year. We started this literally of January, February of 2021, knowing how the monies were going to be filtered down to the counties. And so the process, what will happen is that our EMA director, Mr. Richard Key, will go to each one of these entities and begin taking a wish list. And that wish list can be well over $100,000 or whatever, but the wish list is basically to determine how much of the same item we have. So basically Sandy River may have so many of this, and you may have Moore Chapel with this, you may have Eva with this, but Mr. Key will compile the like items. So instead of ordering 10 vests, we may be ordering 60 vests, we may be ordering 70 vests, and so we put that out into one common bid to leverage monies, the economy of scale, right, so that we get the best return on our money. So it's possible that we could get $12,000 worth of equipment for a $10,000, element of cost. So the bid process will come into play. We've got our grant writers, which is Community Development Partners, LLC, out of Brentwood. Y'all are very familiar with them. They've written many grants for us. They know the process. We've actually done this process before many years ago, so we're not recreating the wheel. We know the process to take, and again, it's a good gesture while we have the money here to help them now. So what does that take, right? Basically, it takes removing language of the old Walmart off the current budget, okay? So that's an action that the legislative body has to do. You've got it in the right place, but the language does restrict us to basically saying we cannot touch that money that's allocated to the old Walmart building. Now, $80,000 of that would be a great opportunity to help the sheriff's department and the need for their vests and the ballistic vests or whatever equipment that he may charge the individual deputies and law enforcement personnel that they kind of foot the bill on their own or that he doesn't have the money for. We could take a wish list from the sheriff to address a vest need. But basically, you've got $980,000 of monies from the ARPA grant that could be freed up to meet some of these immediate needs. So $900,000 definitely would have to go to the volunteer fire departments and rescue squad. The other 80 plus is all negotiable based upon what public safety needs that the sheriff or EMA may have, and that's for y'all to decide, okay? So there's...
Question, Mayor. At Big Sandy Town Hall, you told them, you made a statement that you were going to defund the Walmart building when you get the language changed, and they were going to get so much money for a ball field. Now you're saying we're going to take all that money and do the fire department. So where does Big Sandy baseball field stand?
Okay, there's also other grant monies. We have literally got $2.5 million in monies tied to Walmart right now in our budget. So simply by removing the language, we are freeing up the governor's grants, other type of grants that we've already received that's going into Walmart that we can redirect. There's also the sale of Walmart, which would be my personal recommendation, is that we put that building out on the market. We know that our bottom line is roughly, let's say, $770,000, right? That's our bottom line, what it would take to get your money back out of that building. It values, per the reports that were made, at $890,000 of valuation, so I would think that we could probably get $900,000. There's your money for, that's literally, you could literally put all that money into Big Sandy and really cure a lot of community ails that they have. So that would be my recommendation, is that we sell the building, we free that money up, direct it back towards the community. But again, these are things that you ultimately make the decision on. That's just the recommendation.
Mayor, I have a question. The Lockhart property has been declared surplus property. Have you done anything in trying to sell that property or
We're
advertising
going to
of
move
anything?
forward on September 1st towards the completion of that original project that we had. So that's my plan, is that we go back down there with Ag Extension and that we move forward with the original plan, which was already in the works, which had been said yes to 5 times, of which somehow, again, in the process of leaving and coming back, things get completely derailed. So I'm back to Plan A, and that is my commitment to move forward with that. So I want to talk about the gasoline prices. I did make an inquiry today from a local distributor. Now, the distributor is not the actual retailer. We know that the distributors are where the supply comes from. And let's just take Walmart and Murphy gasoline stations that you see at Walmart. And Casey's, I believe, are on the same, what you call, distribution vendor. So the numbers of Paris, Tennessee, or Henry County are far greater than the same entities in Benton County. So the answer I got, really, it's pure capitalism. It's pure supply and demand and the elements of cost of delivering to a facility that's going to have 3 or 4 times the number of repetitive sales than Benton County offers. But that's the response I got. I think there's a bigger issue here too, that I think a letter to the governor would be beneficial. And it basically just saying, I mean, you know, whether it's price gouging or not, we want to know, right? I mean, you know, it's because what happens is when you get the volume element in, you just shop local, which is so important, you know, that you emphasize on multiple meetings. Shopping local does not apply, right? I mean, people are going to go. And so not only do they drive over there for gasoline, but while they're over there, they're going to probably eat and they're going to buy, you know what I'm saying? So it does hurt rural communities, and that's why I say I think a letter of concern stating that not only are we being harmed from the gasoline prices, but we're also being harmed from the rural economic, stimulus that we need to shop local. So I'll get on that letter tomorrow for you. Talking about the airport tower, and I believe, again, I've been in conversations with Climavision as well as the airport board a lot. Mr. Truill has not brought his concerns to me directly. I love community engagement. I definitely want to hear his side of the story, but just to give you a little history, we know that the airport was there beginning in 1963, right? And so there are towers, there are certain things that are inherent to running and operating an airport. Lights being one, noise, whether it be land sprawl, whatever it may be, this comes with an airport. Now, the light had been there, and of course, upon the light intrusion upon the homes, it was relocated to the tower. I thought, well, that's a good win, right? It's a good win-win for the community, and it still serves the airport need. But where we're getting with Climavision, we've got two different arguments going. The TDOT Aviation actually thought, well, if y'all want an AWOS system, you can have that at the airport. You don't even need to move the light. It doesn't require light. They were not aware of the Climavision radar system, okay? So they were going on the fact that, if you need a radar at the airport, just go with the AWOS, which we still want to pursue that one as well, that enhancement for the airport, because that gives the aviation community the data that they would need for flying in. A larger scale radar may not, that AWOS does. So now we'll go back to the tower. In order to install Climavision's radar system on top of the tower, there are some studies going to be. They do have towers where both do coexist. And so we need to go with that determination at first. Keep in mind, if we keep the beacon light on top of the tower, any type of maintenance, any type of issues that may go wrong and that we have to foot the cost, just for a crane, it's $10,000. So the question needs to be, is it financially beneficial for us to have that light on top of any tower that would require a crane rental, the removal of equipment? And we'll go with Climavision because they'll be in charge of the radar. I'm not so sure that they'll accept financial responsibility of maintaining a beacon light at the same time, since that serves a different purpose. So let's wait and see what their response is going to be, and then we'll move forward. But even with the light up there, it still poses somewhat of a cost. Now, the new towers that they've got, we can buy a tower and a stand that does not have that same amount of height. And the towers of today, or these lights of today, come with deflector shields and other elements that will buffer a light intrusion element. So in a way, the light is popping up into the sky, not straight or down into someone's window and being intrusive on them. So I would like for Mr. Truill and the airport board, I believe the community needs to come out. Let's talk it over. Let's just see what is the best win-win outcome. But no moves are going to be made prematurely without proper discussion, proper thought. So just wanted to run that by you. Also want to, I think that covers, talk about tonight you're going to have a board recommendation appointment for Mr. Kenneth Miller to the Board of Public Utilities. Per page 45 of our CTAS manual, Chapter 1, under the various scopes and duties, the mayor makes the appointments for the Board of Public Utilities. And the reason the mayor makes that is the mayor is representative of the county and its citizens. So Kenneth Miller is my recommendation. Now, he is replacing Mr. Jerry Thornton. I love the Thornton family. Love all the family. They're hard workers. But Mr. Thornton has a nephew and a grandson that works for the Benton County Electric System. Now, since that particular appointment, on that very specific meeting where a family member was hired, I went to that meeting and I asked every board member, were you aware of this appointment? Not a single one of them knew. Completely left out in the dark. Now, the reason that was important is that when they go and sit down at a restaurant, don't you think they deserve the respect to at least be informed before that hire is made? Do you want to be going and eating somewhere and someone come to you and say, oh, here y'all have hired another family member? So it's very disrespectful to the board to have not been informed of that process. and I thought that maybe things would improve. But over my tenure of 4 years, I believe 4 family members of personnel with the electric company have been hired. We just made one very recently. Just to let you know that that person, it's no fault of theirs. I mean, who would not want a job with the electric company? But the fact that it seems like you're ruled out before you get started and that there's favoritism going on to family being hired, that is a concern of mine. I represent the people. I don't represent the Benton County Electric System. Neither does the Board of Public Utilities. And we've got too many tail wagging the dog situations within our committees and our board structures. This is why I made a commitment that that would change if I was your mayor. This is one of those changes because I trust that Commissioner Miller has the people's interests in place at first. He is not going to basically just be a rubber stamp. Now, the end result might be the same, but what words and verbiage goes into the minutes is important. The fact that this is even being voiced at board meetings is important. The people have a right to, I guess, request that information and see who's representing them. And from what I've seen so far, that board has not done a very good job. Not in the past. I mean, I've seen raises given every single year, cost of living raises. That's normally not the norm, but it has been. And I just want the board to voice that concern, to say maybe a dividend to the public would be a better choice, right? Maybe opening a hiring to non-family members would be just as important to our citizens who are the ultimate owners of the Benton County Electric System. That's all I want. I want a commissioner that I have trust represents you as a citizen, not as a commissioner, but you as a citizen. But since then, 4 family members just under my tenure have been hired. The last one making $37,959.96. This person's 19 years old. I've got an employee downstairs that have worked for the county over 40 years, making, I think, about $34,000. So how would that make you feel to know that you have committed so much to the county and someone, 19 years old, starts off from day one of an official employee making more than you? And that's why your board is important to you, not rubber stamps. That's why I will take these appointments very seriously. Because although the outcome might be the same, I want to know that someone is voicing the concerns of the average everyday citizen out there. Now,
Ashley, we have 2 commissioners that are asking to respond.
okay, let me finish. Okay, before I get to the next one, yes, go ahead.
Well, what I was going to have you talking about, you want to put Kenneth on there as a commissioner you can trust or whatever. Since you've been mayor, you've actually put 3 commissioners on there. You put board plan, you put Ms. Powers. She moved out. Why do we do, I ain't gonna lie to you, I believe we need some good structure going on and something with the electric system. But why do we want to flood it with commissioners? Why don't we flood it with citizens? I don't know if everybody knows it, but a meeting at the electric company pays $300 where we make $75. So why do we keep flooding commissioners on there and not let the people of Benton County sit on that board, just like you said, that would do something instead of having maybe the influence of commissioners doing things of that nature. I understand when I've read that a little bit about it, it says a commissioner, and you can read that any way you want to, I guess. But I have a problem with 3 commissioners sitting on the board. I apologize. I just don't think that's right. Maybe you should be pulling some from Big Sandy, somebody from Holiday, somebody from Camden, things of that nature, and spread out the people into it.
And I attempted to...
And like you said, one more thing. Like you said, maybe have the board on the hiring process, get the board involved where you put it out, you announce the jobs and things of that nature, let the board get something into that so that you kind of get an idea or get a pick of the whole town or something if you're saying that that's what's happened. But anyways.
Okay. And thank you for that. And like I said, I know Mr. Scott Owens is here in the audience. He's phenomenal. He's going to do a great job. I do think he's going to be a proactive director, just the kind of director that we want. And I do believe he's going to be fully transparent. But at the end of the day, there is always and has been a history of kind of a family-oriented, hiring with the electric company, and I just want the people, who better than a commissioner, right? You represent the people of the county. You have run to serve the people's voice and the people's interests. However, my door is always open, and I have entertained people coming in and out of my office to express interest of what committees. I've got a spreadsheet this long of future appointments of people who have expressed their interest in particular areas. I've already got a civilian, just non-commissioner, already picked for the next opening on the electric Board of Public Utilities when that comes. Mr. Miller had bumped ahead of that, and, like I said, I think before I left, I tried to appoint someone from Holiday. I know Miss Mary Powers was from Big Sandy when she was originally put. We've got people from all parts of the county. I actually build that into my strategy of planning and thinking when I approach these boards. So actually, I can tell what district they're from, if they've served on other boards, what kind of knowledge. But I talked to an individual who is very interested in serving, and he's kind of next on my list to appoint one. Now, as far as commissioners, I know that some had already been on the board, and they were simply reappointed when their term came. So the reason Mr. Miller, I believe, stands out is because since I know I've been mayor, I've seen him at nearly every meeting up there. I know that he understands the dynamic. He worked for TVA for many years, so he has some type of institutional knowledge when it comes to power. And I see his heart. That's one thing. A person with heart will go a long way because they'll invest themselves into the mission of their duties. So that's why I picked Mr. Miller. I appreciate it, and like I said, if you'll come in and sit down, we'll go over the list. I'll show you who I've got for what boards. But again, I have sat in this chair multiple times inviting the community to come, express their interests. We've got industrial boards, TRRD, tourism. We've got multiple boards that I can put people, through the appointment process on. So I take it very serious.
Mayor Lashley, Commissioner Hopper was raising his hand.
Yeah, by you having put Mr. Miller on there, that's going to give us 3 sitting commissioners. It's a five-person board, isn't it?
Five people.
Okay, so Mary Powers was a commissioner when she sat on that board, when she was appointed. So that basically makes 4 commissioners. So aren't you stacking the deck?
I'm not well, again, I would think
You don't want the
that
involved, so you shouldn't stack the deck for the county.
Okay, well, first of all, come bring me your concern before we get to this process, okay? And I've asked, you know what I mean?
You don't listen to nobody but yourself.
Okay. Either way, you made an appointment last time of a commissioner, correct? You could have made this, there was a commissioner appointed while I was away. So you've already said yes to a commissioner.
I never was asked to be put on that committee.
Okay.
Never have
Well, what
asked.
I'm getting at is, a commissioner was appointed while in my absence, correct?
I was not here to vote for it, but yes, there was.
Okay.
And it was voted on by the commission. And it was accepted. But here again, you've always said that you're going to do this whether we agree with it or not. And frankly, that's why I'm not running them anymore, because I'm not listening to this kind of stuff. You're not going to tell me what you're going to do. We hold the keys to the purse.
Yes, you do. Ultimately, you say yes or no, so I have to win your support. But right now, that is the mayor's office purview to make these appointments. Okay, the booklet by CTAS states that. I will show you verbatim the statute that says that. So your mayor is recommending Mr. Kenneth Miller for the board. You have a thumbs up or thumbs down. That is your ability. Okay, moving right along.
I think we can move on when that resolution comes up. I think we need to take that up then. But I do have a couple of questions. You were talking about family. I'd like to ask Mr. Plant how many family members he has working at the electric system.
I have one.
You have one family member? Okay.
I was appointed by Barnett, appointed by this.
Okay. Now, my next question is for you, Mayor Lashley. we have a rules and order book policy that we are to go by. On page 8 of that policy, it states down here, any commissioner who loses the ability to serve on the full commission automatically forfeits their seat on any board or committee or appointment. I would like to know why, and I mentioned this to you when it happened, when Mary Powers resigned, she should have come off the Benton County Electric System Board because it states this in our rules of order right here. Why did you not remove her?
I cannot remove her. That rules of order is not for the mayor, but the commission. I'm not the chairman of the commission. I do not represent the commission. I represent the mayor's office. And until they are replaced, they continue to serve. So this is one thing, like let's take Mr. Ray Wilson was on this committee last year, right? My take would have been was to let him continue serving until a particular time would come to replace it. And unless they resign, they continue to serve even after their expiration until replaced. So that probably applies to Ms. Powers, but a mayor has a very thin line. If I get involved to remove board members, there's actually a law that I violate. Okay.
So you're saying the county commission should have sponsored a resolution?
Yes,
to
I
remove
would say
her?
that the county, it would be an act of the county commission to remove that person. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other question? We're good?
We're good.
Okay.
Wait a minute, well, okay, Commissioner Burke.
I want to step back from being commissioner. The electric system is one of the most open businesses in the county. Anything you want to know, this guy right there will tell you. Nothing they try to hide, no hiring they try to hide. If anybody's got a problem, go ask them. But don't sit here and run the electric company down. Now, it is true to my heart, because that's where I worked. Sonny was he was a commissioner there. He knows. We do the best for the county. We do. We're there every day. Don't run the electric system down. If you got a problem, talk to Scott.
Okay. I'm the biggest supporter of the electric
Okay,
system.
that's what I'm saying. It's an open policy. Anything is up there.
How many board members knew of the hiring?
I have no idea that.
How many board members knew of a previous hiring?
I wasn't a board member, and I wasn't a mayor.
All right, and that is my argument, is that as a board member, they deserve to be in the know. They are actually the authority over the electric system. So do you not think that if anyone was going to be in the know, it would actually be a member of the Board of Public Utilities?
They should be in the know. And I'm sure your Scott keeps them in the know. I'm sure he's got them on a text list, and he tells them everything that goes on.
And that's why I said, at the end of the day, the end result may still be the same, but it is important that voices be heard and properly recorded in the minutes for the historical record. Because if a citizen was out there and they wanted to see the minutes and nothing was discussed, how much confidence do you think that they would have in their board? Not a lot.
They could see the minutes are open.
But what if it's not in the minutes because it was never discussed? So the historical record is important because that's what tells the citizens that there you go. And
the minutes are documented every meeting.
So
I'm just saying, if anybody's got a question, it's open, ask Scott, and he'll be glad to tell you.
Okay, I'm going to recognize one more commissioner about this subject, and then we're going to move on. Commissioner Melton.
When you hire someone, do you consult the commission before you hire them?
It depends.
It's the same difference.
No, it's not.
But here's the thing. The Board of Public Utilities was established as an independent body, not to be influenced or controlled by any other governmental body. If you place a third commissioner on the Board of Public Utilities, now the commission has control of that board, because 3 votes will pass whatever is up for vote. There should not be that control. That control it takes away the independence. It now makes them an arm of the county commission.
A municipal electric system. Not a county-owned electric system.
I'm not sure that the comptroller would allow a mixing or blending of the board of public utilities and the county commission. I think that we're barking up the wrong tree with having 3 commissioners on the board.
Okay, let's move on, okay, please. I know
There
this
are
could take a
rules for
long time.
municipality-owned commissions. This is a county-owned system. Again, Mr. Miller's my choice on your resolution. So, we have someone in our audience that I have invited to speak to us, and it is Mr. Joe Barker. Do you want to come up here, Joe? Now, for many folks across the state of Tennessee, Joe Barker really needs no introduction, okay? Joe was a city mayor,
Afraid so.
as well as a county mayor.
Double afraid so.
But Joe is also, I guess for many years, you can probably tell us, has served as the executive director of the Southwest Tennessee Developmental District. Joe has been a member of numerous economic and community development boards across the state of Tennessee, worked very prevalent in the, I guess, the Bredesen era, the Haslam era, and now the Lee era, as far as when it comes to economic and community development and recruitment. The West Tennessee city and county mayors binded together to select Joe to be our spokesman across West Tennessee on any matters pertaining to the Ford Blue Oval expansion that we're seeing west of Jackson, Tennessee. We call it the Brownsville-Haywood area, but I'll let you be more specific to that. Just to let you know, Ford Blue Oval, although it is many miles away to the point, and if you draw that little circle of radius around it, Benton County hits right out there on the fringe area. Already we are seeing an enormous amount of economic recruitment activity right here in Benton County based upon Ford Blue Oval. It is a big deal. It will have tremendous impact on this county. It's already having impact on our industrial recruitment. We have entertained multiple what we call RFIs, requests for information, for our industrial sites that is specifically related to automotive supplier-oriented manufacturing and business. So it is a big deal, and I felt like Mr. Barker needed to address our commission to tell you how big a deal that it is and can be on Benton County. So, Mr. Barker, I welcome you to Benton County.
Thank you, Mayor.
Appreciate you being here, and I'll just turn the floor over to you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Well, I want to thank Mayor Lashley for inviting me and the opportunity to bring you up to date a little bit on what I personally feel is the most transformational project in the history of West Tennessee. Mayor Lashley mentioned I'm a former city mayor and county mayor, and not too far from here, city mayor of Savannah and Hardin County mayor, and I now live in Jackson. And for almost a decade, I served on the original Mega Site Authority board. So I've had a lot of my professional life has been invested in this project. Now I'm going to tell you on the front end, I had nothing to do with recruiting Ford Motor Company. But emotionally, I've never seen anything that's probably affected me more as when the call came in that the deal was done. I tell this story and it's true. I'm not the youngest guy in the room anymore, and I'd gotten to the point, quite frankly, commissioners, where I really thought that in my lifetime I would never see a project like this on that site. There were obstacles all along the way, and I know I was talking earlier with Jennifer Wheatley, who's been a longtime friend of mine, about the fact that this is an unusual project in that the state of Tennessee owns the property. I think it's the only mega site in the southeast that state government owns the property. So that created its own challenges in getting things such as infrastructure in the ground to attract an OEM. I was sitting on my back deck back last September. Now, I will tell you, I have to confess to you that, sometimes late in the afternoon after work, I might go sit on my deck and
quite frankly, I might have an adult beverage. I mean, it just happens sometimes, and if it's been a particularly difficult day, I might have 2 adult beverages, Mayor. I know you find that hard to believe. But about a week before that day, I was in Memphis, and I have a friend that retired from TVA. And we were at a meeting together, and we were walking out of the meeting together, and he says, I think it's going to happen. And I said, you think what's going to happen? He said, I think this announcement's going to come real soon. And I said, announcement on what? The Mega Site Authority Board was never told anything about this. In fact, we had heard that there was a prospect looking at the site, but we had heard over the last decade that there were lots of prospects looking at the mega site. Anyway, I was on my deck that afternoon, and my phone rings, and it was the guy from TVA, and he said the Ford announcement is going to happen tomorrow. And I sat there, and honestly, tears started rolling down my cheeks, and my wife walks out, and she says, who died? I said, nobody died. I said, this to me is the greatest project for the future of West Tennessee that I could ever hope for. And I really believe this deep in my heart. Now, just to give you a brief update, because I know you've got a long agenda. The announcement was made in September, and it's hard to believe we're not far off from the year anniversary of the announcement of Ford Motor Company. Now, I think one of the things we have to keep in mind, we always talk about Ford, but there's Ford Motor Company and a joint venture with a Korean company called SK Innovation, which is the battery manufacturer. And when Ford talks about in this project that there will be 6,000 jobs, it's about evenly divided between the Ford plant and the battery plant. And the first vehicles are scheduled to roll off first quarter of 2025. $6 billion capital investment. This is the largest capital investment for any one project in the history of the state of Tennessee. 6,000 jobs and thousands more of jobs that will be created by suppliers all across Tennessee and other states. How many of you ever been to the mega site? Physically been? Great. All right. It's 4,100 acres in Haywood County. It was all cotton land. It's as flat as this floor. Options were taken years ago by a county mayor in Haywood County. When the options came due, the way the state got involved, Haywood County did not have the tax base to exercise the options on 4,100 acres at $10,000 an acre. The state of Tennessee stepped in and bought the property. I can already see from just being able to attend meetings with Ford and SK, the excitement that they have about this particular site and this particular project. In fact, the reason they wanted that site is they wanted to build a city. And when you talk about a plant that employs 6,000 people, it's bigger than the city of Savannah when I was mayor at that time. So you can imagine that they're trying to put urban services in a very, very rural area and the challenges that go along with it. The reason, and Mayor mentioned that the city and county mayors came together and asked me to represent them, what was found out real early is the information coming primarily out of Ford over the last 8 or 9 months was primarily going through the Memphis Chamber, periodically through the Jackson Chamber, certainly going through the local folks in Haywood County, and then those particular counties that are around Haywood County, Tipton County, Fayette County, primarily we're getting information about the project. The rural mayors, and particularly those, as you got farther away from the site, we're getting very little information. And so they felt like that they needed a representative that could deliver this information to them on a timely basis, and I hope that's what I've been doing, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Somebody asked me, said, "Joe, when are you going to retire?" And I said, I was ready to retire probably 3 or 4 years ago, but this project has sort of reinvigorated me. And I said, when that Ford F-150 electric vehicle rolls off first quarter of 2025, old Joe's going to ride off in the sunset with it. And so that's my retirement plan, I'll tell you. One reason I wanted to come and just say a few words to you is, I know sitting in Benton County is like sitting down in Hardin County. How's this project going to benefit us? How's it going to benefit us? Well, I personally think, not Hardin County because they got no interstate, okay? But I personally think that these counties in the eastern part of West Tennessee are in a sweet spot. And why I say that is this. I don't know how many folks that you would actually have drive over there every day. I guess it's hour and a half probably to the site from here. I don't know how many folks you would have drive over there every day to work. I guarantee you're going to have some, because this is one of the things that a Ford executive told me when I first met with him, and we all know, and you people in business know how hard it is to get people to fill your vacancies. Where are you going to find 6,000 workers? They have no doubt they're going to fill it. And one thing they know is rural people will drive to work if the wages make it worth their while. I told you I've lived in Hardin County most of my life, and my office was in Jackson. For almost a decade, I drove back and forth from Pickwick every day to Jackson. So people will, in rural West Tennessee, will drive to work. Plus, the state of Tennessee appropriated $40 million to build a TCAT on site. The TCAT is supposed to be completed in fall, I believe it's fall of 2024. I guess my advice is this to any county that's out in this, as that circle, as Mayor Lashley said, is there's 3 things. You got a plan. And really, we're late in the stages of planning. Because of these suppliers, and there's going to be many of them, the way this process works is most of them will contact first the state of Tennessee. And they'll ask them for sites based on their criteria. And as Mayor Lashley talked about a spreadsheet, well, the state of Tennessee's got a spreadsheet. And they know who's got sites, they know who's got certified sites, and by certified sites I mean that have got all the infrastructure that's needed and all the environmental work has already been done. And that's where these folks are going to be pointed to. So you better plan, because you are competing against everybody else in West Tennessee. And I guess the decision is, do you want to be in that game? I would hope you would say yes, because it's a great, great opportunity. The second thing is, you plan first, and then you better prepare. You know, a plan is worth nothing unless there's an implementation part of it. So you plan, and you prepare, and then you got to perform, which is the implementation of it. I just don't want any community in West Tennessee to be left behind and 20 years from now say, you know, that project over there did nothing for us. Well, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to talk to you like I've talked to every city and county commission I've talked to over the last 6 months. If it doesn't happen, you got nobody to blame but yourself. Because I'm going to tell you this. The state of Tennessee is not going to ride in here on a white horse. The federal government's not going to ride in here on a white horse and say, I'm going to save Benton County and I'm going to give you some money so you can capitalize on Blue Oval City. It's going to be the people of Benton County will decide if they want to profit off this project. On the side over there, there's 4,100 acres. And I know the gentleman was talking earlier about the fire departments. Do you know the very first thing they built on that site to attract a company, and this is long before Ford, they built an EMS facility right in the middle of that mega site. That was the very first thing they did over there. They planned, and that's what they built on that site. 3,500 acres of that will be the footprint for Ford SK Innovation. There's another 600 acres that's on the west or the east side of Highway 222. That's 600 acres, and I feel like probably there'll be an announcement fairly soon on that. Will be companies that probably Ford Motor Company has a financial interest that ties in to this project. So there will be other manufacturing companies on that site that will add to those 6,000 jobs. Right now, there's about 100 folks over there working. As you can imagine, it's mainly grading, moving dirt. I was over there about 2 weeks ago, and of course, I guess y'all been here like we have over there. I mean, it was so dry over there, you couldn't even see the scrapers and things because the dust was boiling up so high over there. I've seen a couple of aerial shots in the last week or two that you really can't see from the road to the west. It's unbelievable what they've already done over there. The construction company, Walbridge Construction, says they predict by summer of next year there'll be 6,000 construction workers on that site. It's unbelievable. And if you go into Memphis sometime and you get to exit 42, you need to jump off exit 42 and run down there. I think you'll be impressed with what's going on. So that's sort of an update on what's happening at Blue Oval City. They're still in the early stages. I will tell you this, if you want to jot this down, if you got anybody interested in the way the hiring is over there, it's sort of interesting. Right now, and of course, we're talking about construction hiring right now. We're not talking about hiring to work at the plant. But as usual, right now, they're looking for folks that are laborers, folks that can drive equipment. I was told the other day they're looking now for finished concrete workers. Those types of workers are who they're looking for right now. There is a website called Build Blue Oval. And you go on that website, and if you've got some skills, and it may be skills that they don't need today, but they need 3 months from today, I would urge folks that if you know anybody like that, you can go on there, you can register on that site, and it gives you an opportunity to be in contact if you're interested in going to work over there. So that's a little bit of an overview. I'll be glad to try to answer any questions you might have. I hope you're excited about this. You know, in my lifetime, I'm not going to see much difference. But my children and grandchildren, I know, will see the difference over there. And if they want to live in rural West Tennessee and make a good living with benefits, we've got an opportunity that's always gone to Middle and East Tennessee right now, that we've got this great opportunity, and I believe it. So, any questions?
I guess I'd just like to say we've got a 500-acre tract. It's got rail, intersection, road. We're praying that that'll be a good site for something to come in. If we go ahead and get that certified, TVA will help do that.
Right.
And as you say, if we had that, we'd be standing pretty good for a chance something to come in there on that.
Well, you know, it's always easy for somebody out of town to spend your money, okay? You know, when I was a mayor, I'd always tell that to folks, it's easier for you to spend our money. But y'all know this as well as I do. The county commissions and the city commissions control the finances in counties and cities. You're the stewards of it. I used to tell folks in Hardin County, we had more good projects that were killed at the coffee shop before they ever got started than any other place. And we even had projects get killed at the coffee shop that I'd never heard of before. But that's usually where it happened. And I also used to tell my commission, I always knew our commission was serious about something when they invested money. My dad was in the farm equipment business for over 60 years. And he had a saying, and I can't tell you how many times I've thought about it, and particularly in my government life, is never let a dime knock you out of making a dollar. And I've thought about that a lot, particularly working in government, because we're so careful about how we spend taxpayers' dollars, and rightly so. That's what they've entrusted us with. But sometimes you have to invest to get a return. There's no such thing on return on investment if you leave out the word investment. It takes an investment. So I know that, it's challenges and all the way around, but these companies are looking, and the other thing that makes places like Benton County attractive is, now there's some of these suppliers that have to be really close to the plant. We understand that. And the Tipton counties of the world, and the Fayette counties of the world, and even the Madison counties of the world, they're going to get those folks. But there's some of these suppliers that don't want to compete with Ford for their labor. They'd rather come to Benton County, where they've got a labor market that they're not competing with Ford, and they're still close enough that they can hit that interstate and supply those goods.
And Mr. Barker, not to upstage you here, I've got a few comments, but you draw that circle around Ford Blue Oval, now draw it around Spring Hill, and who sits right in the middle? Because auto suppliers won't just feed Ford, they may also have contracts with the GM plant in Spring Hill. So they're just Ford may be what's attracting them here, but their opportunity is compounded when you put us right in the heart of Ford and GM. And that's why our RFIs, our request for information, is literally like a stock market ticker tape coming into Jennifer Wheatley every week in my office. And so we are about to pull the trigger on locating our EMA out at the industrial park. We've been working on this project for almost 4 years now. That is very close to finalization, and I believe will happen very soon. We're also in the process of acquisition an additional parcel at our current industrial park to give us the footprint needed to land these auto suppliers. And that's the quick fix. And then the 555 acres that we already have an option on, have already signed it. We're getting ready to finalize an invest prep application with TVA that will allow us our initial surveys and studies and research on that property before we ever make the decision to buy that. But that will go through our industrial board, which has been very active over the last several years. So a lot of good things are happening as far as the footprint and landscape for industrial recruitment in Benton County, and you are just hitting it right on the head of
well,
why
a
it's
lot
going
of
to
these
fail.
folks, I'm going to tell you, most of the folks I've talked to with Ford, of course, they all live in Michigan. And I won't tell you, they think our rural area, and particularly over here around the river, they love it. They can't wait to get down here. And here's what they think, and I think they're right, is they're going to have a lot of their workers that's working up in Michigan right now that's going to come down to Tennessee because they like the quality of life and they like no state income tax. So these workers are going to come, and we just have to be prepared. I don't want to see Shelby County get it all. Crap, I don't want to see Madison County get it all. All right? You know, our rural counties deserve this, and that's the reason. If there's anything I can help you with, and I think lots of times we need to even maybe look at working regionally on some of these projects because it would really entice us all to do that. So, yes, sir.
Are they trying to keep the spin off in Tennessee? I know Mississippi and Arkansas are closer than we are.
Well, I think a lot of these plants, you know, I'm sure Ford will tell them what their delivery time needs to be, and you're exactly right. If they can locate in Arkansas and they think that individual company, I'll tell you right now, down in Henderson, Tennessee, there's a company called Arvin Sango, and Arvin Sango provides the mufflers to the Toyota plant at Blue Springs, Mississippi. So that's how far some of these folks get out, all right? And you're right. I mean, Kentucky will be competing for them. I guarantee you Mississippi will be competing for them, and Arkansas, and some of those states, particularly Mississippi, are very aggressive, and they're getting ready.
Mississippi is very close.
Yes, yeah. They're just particularly, you know, some of them within an hour's drive for sure. Yes, sir.
In all of your experience with the interstate being down south there, would you say that Holiday area would be a prime area, so close to the interstate?
Any place that's close to the interstate. And here's, and I'm just going to, and I don't know how y'all's infrastructure is set up here in Benton County, and they're seeing this in Haywood County. Can you imagine how many farmers they've got in Haywood County that right now would like to sell their farmland for development? The problem is, guess what?
Price.
No infrastructure. You can't build subdivisions and you can't build these things unless you've got particularly wastewater.
Right.
And so it don't matter how great a piece of property they've got if they can't provide that. And this is the greatest challenge I see, is particularly, and I don't know if Holiday has their own wastewater system.
We do, yes, sir.
Okay, good.
That's just happened there where the North Point.
Well, that's good. Anything close to the interstate, number one is when they're checking that box, it gets one of the first boxes checked. Because if they can just jump on that interstate and get down to that facility, it's huge. It's huge.
And just in defense of the 555 acres, it meets all the criteria of being on the interstate. So being on the interstate or close to the interstate, it fits the same. We're within a 15-mile drive of the interstate. However, the biggest attribute to the 555 acres is not just the interstate, it's also the railroad. So TVA already has it on their top list if it's acquired, simply because of the railroad. So it offers us 15 miles from the interstate and rail.
One thing I'd like to do, and y'all got a lot to do, and I'm going to leave you alone, is just to show you how aggressive Memphis is. The end of August, they're having what they call a blue carpet tour, all right? And they're inviting potential suppliers in, and they're going to wine and dine them for about 3 days over there at the Peabody, and then take them out to Blue Oval City and do some things over there. Here's what we need to do, folks. Our rural areas need to get together and do the very same thing and introduce them to really God's country, where you can come out here, you can locate, and we got good folks out here. And one thing about us, we got good workers, if you'll come locate with us. So thank y'all. Thank you, Mayor. I want to tell you, I appreciate every one of you. I've worked with county commissions and city commissions all my life. It's one of the most thankless jobs in the world, but our communities could not do anything without y'all. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Mr. Barkley. Okay, we're going to move on to the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. We need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Commissioner Stokes and a second by Commissioner Nunley to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. All in favor, vote aye. Or please vote on your tablets, I'm sorry.
My battery's dead.
Okay. Rocky Preston,
Yes.
Gary Fur,
Yes.
Anyone wish to change your vote? 15 yes, no, 0 no.
Okay, the minutes from the previous meeting have been approved. Next will be the approval of the report of the public utilities. I need a motion and a second for that. We have Commissioner Nunnery and Commissioner Stokes. All in favor, please vote.
Rocky Preston,
Yes.
Gary Fur. Oh, never mind. Brett Byrd. Anyone wish to change their vote? 15 yes. Motion
Okay.
carries.
The report has been approved. Next is number 7, is a resolution to appoint Francis Quint as Secretary Treasurer of the Harbor Utility District for a 2-year term set to expire on June 22nd, 2024. Need a motion and a second to bring this up. I have a motion by Commissioner Keene and a second by Commissioner Nunnery. Any discussion? Any questions?
Are they
Mr.
here?
Keene.
Francis Quinn, are you here? Okay. I would like to ask the mayor that anybody that's appointed to a committee come so we can meet them. I've got good references on them, but I don't know who they are. And we've asked that, I think, once before, that if you appoint somebody, that they ought to at least be here so we know who they are. And then we can ask them a question or two if we need to.
And not so much as them, because they're not our choice. It is simply the recommendation of the utility district. So that's who we would work through. Angie Hearn is the same thing. She serves on the North Utility District. We have no say-so in her appointment. The utility district actually is the one that takes her appointment and then submits through the county bodies to approve. So I would rather someone from the utility district be here speaking on their behalf. But it's been customary, and I didn't think to invite them, but now that I know that this is a concern of yours, I'll make sure they're at the next one.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, everyone please vote.
Rocky Preston.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries, 15 yes.
Number 8 is resolution to appoint Alice Douglas and Jimmy Kenningston to the Parks and Recreation Board for a 4-year term set to expire July 17th, 2026.
Stand by just a second, Chairman.
Okay.
That was put in twice. No, that's number 3. Which one are we looking at again?
We're on number 8 on the agenda, which is resolution 2.
Parks and Recreation. Oh,
Yeah.
you didn't. You put 2 in there twice. Hold on. Stand by just 1 second, Chairman.
Okay, we'll hold just a minute while they correct something in the computer over here.
It's still the right resolution number. We just need to put in the summary C written copy. Chairman, there's no amendments going to be on this one, right?
There shouldn't be any amendments, I don't think, no. Okay, are we ready?
And twice, sorry.
Okay, now we are on the resolution to appoint Alice Douglas and Jimmy Kenningston. We have a motion by Commissioner Stokes. I'll need a second to bring that up. Commissioner Hill made the second. We have any questions about this? If none, then everyone please vote.
Rocky Preston.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change your vote? Motion carries, 15 yes.
Next is number 3, resolution, and it's number 9 on your agenda. It's a resolution to appoint Kenneth Miller to the Benton County Electric Board for a 4-year term set to expire July 31st, 2026. We have a motion by Commissioner Hill and a second by Commissioner Hall to get this on the floor. This is open for discussion. Okay, Commissioner Melton.
I'd like to make a motion to postpone this indefinitely until we can get a ruling from the comptroller and CTAS legal as to whether 3 commissioners on the electric board is permissible, because that would give control to the commission and would also remove the independence of the electric board as it was established.
Okay, did everybody under that understand that? Okay, have you got your tablet, Mr. Hopper, with you? Have you got your tablet?
Yes.
Okay, well, we already had a second, who was Sonny Hall.
I think you seconded my motion?
I'm seconding his
You're,
motion.
okay, you're going to second the motion to postpone indefinitely?
Yes.
Okay, have y'all got that one?
So is that an amendment to it?
No, it's not an amendment. It's a motion to postpone indefinitely.
Stand by.
It's an amendment to this,
It is not an amendment.
or that would be under any other business?
No.
That's out of order.
Be
though.
now.
Do you think?
It would have to be
No.
now. I have a question.
I think that's out of
Okay.
order.
Who are the other, I know Ward Plant is on the board. Who's the other commissioner besides Ward Plant? You are?
Yes.
Okay. I
And
was-
Mary Powers.
Well, Mary Powers is not a commissioner.
That's what we're saying, though. She was a commissioner. She was put on that.
She stayed on the board.
You can't make an assumption. Okay.
Well, it's,
I mean, I can see what you're saying, but
Okay, let's get back on track.
We've learned now as commissioners by Mayor Lashley there that we should have had a resolution that had taken her off there since she lost her commission, but we didn't. But,
But
no,
if
I never heard of that resolution to begin with, and there was a little conflict with how long Ms. Powers actually sat on this before.
Okay, let's move on. That's not our decision to make tonight about that subject. So we're going to move on. We've had a motion and a second to postpone
I'd
this.
like to speak if I could, I request.
I'll let you speak before we take that vote.
What would be the voting criteria for that? Is that 2/3?
It's simple majority. Okay, Commissioner Plant, you're recognized.
I'd just like to say, look, that board's been out there, I've been out there going on 11 years. And there's been commissioners on there several times, and we brought this issue up. Never has the comptroller or anybody, it says there shall at least be one commissioner on that board. It gives the, it don't say you can't have 4 or whatever. It says there shall be one. We've done run through this, the position is empty. It's all political, the mayor has made his appointment, and I know some of us are just denying it, saying that we're gonna take over the board. Well, it's his appointment. He is the mayor, and that's his very appointment.
There is the issue of control.
You ain't asked to speak yet, let me speak first, please, then you do what I done, get permission, if you don't mind. Mayor, this is your appointment, it is your appointment to appoint. And Roseanne, this is honky right here, this is politics coming out of the woodwork. Now, sure, now Brent's gonna take over the board, he got his 3 men up there. Y'all can't stand it. You just can't
Who are
stand
you
it.
talking to, Mr.
I'm talking to
Plant?
you right now.
Okay, can I ask why you're addressing the chairman on this?
I'm addressing you, I'm addressing everybody. Look, let's
Okay.
get down and do business. I ain't never brought this commission to me on that board. I am a member of the commission. Well, I may have something that you may tell me. The first thing, the board right here has control of the electric board. These 15, 18 people here, that's what, when you think the reading comes from every meeting to the county commissioner, you don't just look at it, it's your knowledge. You have control of a lot of thought. But I'm just saying, let's get this out of our minds of trying to politics. This is his last appointment. You should have done the same with Mr. Field. He was coming back and then too, well, no, you were going to get him on that board. Now we got our thing. Let's just face what we've done. Now let's do right, let's get our heads out and let's do business for the county and let's appoint this position.
Commissioner Melton?
I'm questioning whether any action by a mayor or a commission that would change the established board that is independent is proper. I'm simply asking to postpone it until we can have a ruling from the comptroller's office and CTASC legal.
I can answer that.
And I'm interested in having it in writing from the
No.
bodies.
I'm going
I need your
to,
answer.
okay, thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Milton.
May I be
As of
recognized?
now, Mr. Scott Owens is here from the Benton County Electric System. Mr. Owens, would
May
you
I
like
be
to speak?
recognized? He is not part of the government body.
But I'm recognizing him right now,
All right,
Mr. Owens.
getting ready to dispel it.
I know there's a lot of discussion going on, and Brett, I appreciate your confidence in me to run the electric system, but my concern too is that I took the job last July, and from last July, Mr. Lashley soon left for his deployment. In that time, I hired 9 people at the electric system due to retirements. Those processes and advertisements were run on the radio and on Facebook. The resumes came in. We do not keep resumes on file. The resumes were filtered, and then they were sent a criteria-based assessment based on personality, skill set, mechanical reasoning, and all those pieces. Again, those resumes were filtered, and we made all the hires. It is correct that Mr. Lashley says that we hired Sydney Seaton at the electric system, and I'll explain that as well. Ms. Seaton worked on our summer work program during the height of COVID. We had 13 employees out during COVID, and none of our customers, nor employees or citizens knew any problem with performance of the system or service. We hired a meter technician that did not work out, and one of our customer service reps advanced to that position. She had to apply for it internally and be interviewed. Upon her departing that position, I brought it before the board 2 months before, or a month before, I'm pulling from my memory, and basically told the board that Ms. Seaton, who had worked at the height of COVID, had already picked up the job of 2 years to 3 years that it takes to develop a CSR at the electric system. I brought it before the board and asked them for their approval because it's my responsibility to set salaries, compensation, hire, fire, and handle the daily operations of the electric system. In regards to the salaries, that is correct. But if you do the $37,000, it's a little over $15, $16 an hour that she was making as a CSR. During the budgetary process, I brought that before the board, and we reviewed all the salaries at the electric system in comparison with the Tennessee Valley Public Power Authority salary survey. That survey shows how we compare not just to all the other utilities, but of a utility that is similar in size to customers and also similar in size to revenue. And if you want to retain competitive people who are highly skilled that take 3 to 5 years to develop, we have to pay competitively. Benton County Electric System is a narrow county. We're competing with Carroll County, Decatur County, Henry County, and all the other utilities that are around us. I just want to say that since taking office, I've been very respectful of my board, and they have been very involved in discussions, and there's not I feel like the tail wagging the dog scenario is left over from previous relationships and leadership. And I have involved them in every decision as far as setting policy. The board, since I took office July 4th or July 1st of last year, they have removed meter set charges. They have lowered rates as of January of this year. As far as the credits giving them back to the citizens, they're not much, but they equate to almost $700,000 a year that we're giving back to the citizens at a time that they definitely need them. So I don't have a hand in this as far as Miller, Ward, Phil, etc. They are the mayor's appointments as his representatives for the electric board. But I do have concern because regardless, it is municipal, and 752-107, we've been down this road before, Mr. Plan is correct, states that the board shall consist of 4 people, and the mayor at his discretion may appoint a 5th member as a representative from the governing body. which should be reporting back happenings on the board, et cetera, beyond the minutes. I've also posted every month the minutes on Facebook, the highlights, because I don't have the official minutes to the next meeting. All of this was discussed in our board meetings. What concerns me is that I have addressed the concerns with the board as hiring processes, making sure that it's fair and equitable for somebody to get a job, and brought it before the board that it was Sydney Seaton, who was working part-time as summer help, who was an outstanding person, and asked the board, knowing it was somebody who was a family member, and I'd hired 9 people before that, if they had a problem promoting her to full-time, which our policy is that if there is a possible candidate internal for a job, they could be promoted full-time, and the board did not have a problem with it. However, I take offense just because the board has been so active and so involved since I took over with my leadership on the decisions and the policies and the things that we're doing down there to make sure the board does have appointments from the mayor. But the board's function is an independent body to represent the ratepayers of Benton County. And I do, Mr. Lashley mentioned about Mr. Miller, have no problem with Mr. Miller. However, I do have concerns that 3 commissioners on that board is not appropriate. It's not appropriate politically, it's not appropriate for the function of that board. Now, I have respect for Mr. Melton, Mr. Ward, and even Ms. Powers, but they were involved, and the board has changed since I took over July 1st of last year. We worked on budget for multiple months. We worked on hiring processes. We've cleaned up policies. We've made sure that there's a fair and equitable way to get hired at the electric system. We've made sure we've tried to keep rates as low and as possible. Matter of fact, lowering rates. Times are tough. Bills are going to be high this year, and this is my final statement. And a lot of people don't realize that in everything the electric system does, the residential customer, Benton County Electric only gets $52.15 out of whatever your power bill is. That's what we operate on. Commercial is your customer charge and your demand, because that's what we have to design for. So I say all that to please take it under consideration, and I'll let y'all weigh this out. But I just wanted to address, because I know Mr. Lashley had been out on deployment, and I appreciate his confidence that he said about me trying to do the right thing, and I will do the right thing. That's my responsibility, the day-to-day operations of the electric system. The board is there to monitor budget, policies. They've made changes. We've dropped outdoor light fees. We've dropped meter set fees. We made the decisions to lower rates in January, to return credits. They've been very involved and very busy. And I applaud Ward Plant, Mary Pyers, Phil Melton, James Warren Melton, and Jerry Thornton for their service. So this electric board does represent the mayor's appointments, and he has the right to appoint, but the function of the board is for the rights and rules and operation of the electric system for the ratepayers. And that's the decisions that I make with the board to make sure that every citizen is represented. And if you put a bunch of commissioners on that board, it takes objectivity into subjectivity based on political influence. And that's my only concern that I have. It's not with Mr. Miller or whoever else is sitting on my board. I laughed and I told Mr. Miller, I said, well, I guess Phil, Ward, and Mr. Miller, if he gets appointed, y'all just have to draw straws and see who represents the electric system at the county commission. So thank you for the time and for the recognizing me.
Thank you, Mr. Owens.
I got that.
Okay, I've got 3 others wanting to say something, but go ahead.
All right, just to address Mr. Melton's, I was not here when you were appointed, and if you're going to have even one over one commissioner, it's the same rule, okay? So if you feel like you would like to resign, I would accept your resignation from the electric board, and so that we can remove that commissioner, but you were not my choice and Mr. Miller is. And so, but just to show you how boards can be controlled, the Benton-Decatur Sewer District, 3 commissioners, not only from this county, but from Decatur County as well. The North Utility District, the Water District, our representative is a commissioner. Decatur County side would be commissioner. So the reason the comptroller does not need to be involved, or we need a ruling, I would have accepted this ruling when your appointment came up, just to clarify it. But politics is being played at the last minute. And again, if you feel like you want to resign and take it back down to 2 so that the commissioners aren't in control, I would accept your resignation and we'll appoint a civilian in your place. But the principle is the same. The Benton-Decatur Sewer District, that you have been a commissioner on this body overseeing, for how many years have you been in office? Since 2015? Okay, you never raised a question over that. You've not asked one question about the North Utility District. You've not asked one question really about the electric company until it's my appointment. Mr. Miller is my choice. Vote it up or down, but he is my choice.
I'm not questioning Mr. Miller. 2 votes on the board does not control anything. A 3rd vote on the board does control. And 3 commissioners do not.
It's the same thing with the sewer district.
It does not need to be on the electric company. I'm not addressing the sewer board.
It's the same concept.
I'm addressing the electric.
So suddenly it's a concern, it's politics, call it what you want.
Commissioner Miller, you're recognized.
I just want to say, if y'all put me on the electric board, I represent the citizens of Benton County. It has nothing to do with the commission up here.
Well, you can resign as a commissioner?
No, that's a separate job I've got, Dwayne.
And that's the same
Well, that's
thing.
your opinion, but I'm talking right now. I've been to the majority of the committee meetings out there. I don't see anybody, Scott Kincaid or Mayor Lashley. I've got 25, 30 years with TVA. I know what goes on. I know how the electric system runs. But the main thing is, if I get elected to that board out there, I represent the citizens of Benton County when I vote. I don't represent Mayor Lashley or any of you commissioners. It's the citizens of Benton County. And I don't, I vote the way my community wants me to vote. 2nd District. I vote with Mr. Lashley some, and I vote against him some. Look at my record. I vote the way the citizens of Benton County wants me to vote, and the 2nd District. And that's the way it'll be if you appoint me to that board out there. That's the way it is. Thank you.
Commissioner Plant, you were next. Did you want to speak?
I think it's been enough said.
Okay.
I represent the citizens, and we've not even asked our attorney to do anything yet, but anyway, I have never went out there with anything as far as what the commission, y'all stated, but like I said, you got a part for the cost and whatnot wouldn't be coming to the table every month to you. The commission has got a part in it, but do we represent the commission? I represent all, the citizens, the county, the mayor, you, and everybody. I mean, when I go, my vote represents my heart and what I think's right. And I've never seen where you say, well, you're a commission, you can't vote, you can't. Nobody's ever guided me that way. And I think it's foolish to just come up at this time with this one appointment. And the last time Brent's had it, they had Kenneth up before. He wrote a note for Kenneth to be put on there then. They jumped him. Now that it's his time to appoint, we're getting close to the election, politics is coming again, and it is wrong.
Okay, Commissioner Fowler, you're recognized.
They covered it all. They covered.
Okay.
Well, what about a break?
So, Commissioner King.
I have one question for Commissioner Plant. Have you ever made the statement on the electric board that you were there representing the mayor?
I just said that. I represent the mayor, you, citizen,
You didn't
and all.
say that. You said the mayor.
I did. I may have said that, but I'm telling you, I represent you and all the citizens, not only the mayor. I do what's right by my heart. What do you do here? Don't you do the same thing?
I would say that there was times that I was not going to the meeting, and he conveyed my thoughts at the meeting.
Oh, I have done that. He's asked me to say that. What he's done. Is that what you're saying?
Okay, do we have
I don't know what you're
any
talking
other
about,
commissioner?
But the attorneys want to talk.
Does any other commissioner? Mr. Plant, I'm aware of that. You don't have to tell me, okay?
Yeah.
Commissioner Johnson?
Commissioner.
Attorney Johnson.
Commissioner Plant just was asking about Mayor Ware, so I was just sitting there listening to it all, but I was asking Commissioner Melton, you said you want a legal opinion, but you said it's from point from CTAS legal or the comptroller.
Well, as a legal opinion would be CCAS. CCAS
What's
legal.
CTAS?
The comptroller, I would like an opinion on whether we can blend these boards when there would be 3 commissioners on there, which would give control of an independent board to the commission. That's where my concern is. It's not against Commissioner Miller, but
I know that.
I would like that from independent sources.
And when you say independent sources, you mean other than the county attorney?
Other than well, I would be happy to have your opinion also.
Because you named everyone else, but every agency.
Well,
The commission knows as a whole.
I did not name the electric board attorney either, because.
But they wouldn't have anything to advise this commission
as far
on.
as
I would be the one to do that, but just so that everyone knows, because of all the arguing that goes on that I observe, because I'm not a commissioner here, I'm not a citizen here. I'm an outside attorney, just like many other ones before me. And they all informed me of this issue as well. Every time, like for instance, you saying that just now, saying you want CTAS legal or someone else and saying they're independent, implying that I'm not. All those outside agencies talk to county attorneys in every other county in this state that's appointed just like I am to this position to advise you. And just like we went through a meeting of 14 cases before, we came into a session where everyone's filed with representing you. But in this particular situation, you do not want my opinion on it.
No, I didn't say I didn't want your opinion.
It should be my opinion. They all say that you should ask me my opinion to get your direction from me first before calling, including CTAS. Because there was a last issue with that came up related to the mayor, and it was all messed up because it did not come to me first.
I would be happy to have your opinion as well.
Well,
I did not deliberately leave you out, but
Well, I just want to address that for the commission as a whole, because other agencies in this state outside of this county have seen that, and they say you're not supposed to do that. And I've tried to talk to people in private, and never brought that up in a meeting like that before, still now, because it just seems like that's an issue. But if you're saying that you didn't mean to exclude me, then I accept it.
no, I did not deliberately mean to exclude you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to postpone this matter indefinitely. So at this time, we're going to vote.
So to clarify, this vote is on whether to postpone the resolution.
And
If you vote yes, you're voting to postpone.
Postpone
If you
it.
vote no, you're voting not to postpone.
Yeah, his motion was to postpone indefinitely.
Okay.
I would say be specific about postpone until when, until you get 3 different agencies.
What was your time to postpone?
To get, and I will include you, to get a ruling from the comptroller's office, from CTAS Legal, and our county attorney. And I say indefinitely because I don't know how long that will take.
If I can show you the CTAS reference right now, will that be enough? The CTAS book, right here. So you're not going to take CTAS's work?
I'm asking for
Yeah, it's just a delay tactic.
Okay, we are going to vote.
Can I ask another clarification? If we're waiting all before you, or if those agencies do like they've done in the past, and say you need to listen to your attorney, but he said that some of those agencies don't actually issue legal advisory opinions. They just kind of, you call them and ask them questions, but you want something in writing, legal opinion, they don't really want to do those things whenever I talk to their offices.
Okay, Mr. Owen, do you have anything that you'd like to say on any of the information you have researched about this matter?
My thing would be to say you do or don't, it's just really not legal. That's all
This has been a long-standing question for many, many times on the board as far as commissioners, et cetera. I did ask CTAS as far as what their opinion was as far as if there would ever been any other rulings as far as like city planner or additional commissioner, and there was an attorney's general opinion that did come back. The mayor was going to appoint a city planner in addition to another commissioner. And the Attorney General opinion came back and said, no, he cannot do both. Typically in a smaller city, you have a city planner. But again, again, I feel like with, and I don't want to say feel, because it comes down to Tennessee Codes annotated, and it's 752, 107, 108. It says the board shall consist of 4 members, and the mayor at his discretion or county executive may appoint a 5th member of the governing body. And there's always been this discussion on A or multiple ones, et cetera, but I feel like the intent of the board is to be independent, to represent the citizens, appointments by the mayor, because they do represent what he wants on the board, but the function of that board is for the citizens of the county. So it says when you initially form the board in the statute, you can look it up, it's 752, 107, 108. It says, there shall be 4 members of the board, and the mayor at his discretion may appoint a 5th member as a representative from the governing body.
It says there shall be 5 members, of which one shall be a commissioner.
It starts with 4, though. It says there shall be 4, and the mayor at his discretion may appoint a 5th.
And the mayor appoints all 5.
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay, I think we've deliberated enough on this. The vote is up there. The motion is to postpone indefinitely until we receive clarification from the appropriate people, who is our county attorney, CTAS, or Attorney General, whoever can make that opinion and give it to us. So,
My vote will be no.
okay. Has everyone voted?
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay, we need everybody to vote, please.
And Brett abstain.
Do you have a reason for your abstain?
Yeah, they still pay my benefits and my wife works there.
Sounds good.
It's 8 yes, 6 no, and 1 abstain.
Motion
Okay.
passes.
No, it has to have 10 votes,
You said
majority.
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 If he was here.
It's majority of the voting body.
It's the majority of the body, which our body consists of 18, so
It has to be of the entire 18 people, not of the...
But if someone abstains,
abstains,
doesn't that reduce the number required?
Should just take
Yes.
9.
If it's a true abstain, yes.
but we have to have 2 to abstain to change the number.
Would you rather me just throw this one out and revote it with the proper terms on it then? Or do you want to keep it?
Does anybody want to change your vote?
It'll show in my record that it passes what it's saying.
Okay, so you need to correct that.
Well, that's why I was asking you, what's the voting criteria?
Okay. It's simple majority of our body, which is 18 members, so we...
Of the body.
Of the body, not just of the members voting. Okay, so if you need to correct that.
Well,
It passes.
the problem, okay. You're going to have to correct it manually, because the only way I can correct it, because they've already voted for it.
Like we did last time and put one, I corrected it, but it didn't pass, is what I.
It's already been voted on. I can't change the record on
And I did that
this.
the last time because.
That passes.
Okay,
It's okay if it's okay.
Okay.
for y'all.
then
So it technically failed.
Doesn't have 9.
it failed. The postponement failed.
Type in here, failed. Due to voting criteria incorrect. Okay. You're going to have to manually write that, yeah. Okay, so this is going back to,
It's 8 to 6.
So no,
It has, majority vote of an 18-member body is 10. It needed 10 votes to pass. If you wanted to postpone it, you should have voted yes.
okay, so we're back to our original.
Okay, now we're back to the original resolution, is to appoint Kenneth Miller to the Benton County Electric System Board. So now we're going to take a vote on if you want to vote Kenneth Miller on the Benton County Electric System Board. Please vote.
Rocky Preston.
You'll take it, bust your butt. He would.
One to have Scott Hill vote me yes.
Okay.
And Mr. Burke,
And-
it's the same reasons, correct?
Okay. Has everyone voted, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion
that
failed.
resolution
7
failed.
yes, 7 no, and 1 abstain.
Okay, we're going to move right on to the next resolution. Is,
Madam Chair, I beg your pardon.
pardon me?
I had a question if I could be recognized.
Yes, you may.
My question is just for accuracy of reporting. In the past, when the mayor has had the discretion of making an appointment and the county commission approved or did not approve, sometimes those appointments went forward and sometimes they did not. My question is it required for the commission to approve this appointment for the appointment to be made?
Yes, it is. The commission has to confirm.
Madam Chairman, can I be excused?
Yes, sir, you may. Mr.
Take a
Hopper?
break?
Yes, would y'all like to take a break? Okay, let's take a 10-minute break.
Recess.
Better for you to press stop.
What is that noise?
It's Beverly.
Or they used to be like.
Oh, sorry. I didn't say hi.
Hit it down.
I already said it down.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That took a while. Let's move on to number 10, which is Resolution 5.
4.
4, I'm sorry. Okay, let me get my papers organized. Okay, we have a motion for Resolution 4 by Phil Melton and a second by Mike Nunley to bring this to the floor. Any discussion? Any questions for the sheriff? Okay, if not, all in favor, vote. Or if you're opposed, vote.
Rocky Preston,
Vote yes.
Ronnie Hopper. Anyone wish to change your vote? 14 yes, 4 absent.
Okay, motion passes. Resolution number 5 is a resolution to have the county mayor procure bids and select the vendor to replace the tankless water heaters at the sheriff's department and county jail buildings. We have a motion by Commissioner Melton and a second by Commissioner Hall. Any questions about the tankless water heater?
How many are we talking about?
We approved, approved the money to do it, and because the configuration didn't really matter in the budget. The configuration can be determined after, once they get the bids and stuff. And property now, we didn't take any action because we wanted to have some more information about whether the configuration could make a difference.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, everyone please vote.
Rocky Preston.
Rocky votes yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote? We have 13 yes, 1 no. Motion carries.
Number 12 on your agenda is a resolution to establish an updated occupational safety and health plan.
Chairman, would
Yes.
you please read that resolution to us?
If you want to stay here till about 11 o'clock, I'll read it. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Stokes. We'll need a second to bring it to the floor. A second by Commissioner Hall. Okay, this floor is open for discussion about this. Commissioner King, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. This was come out a few months ago, and it was pulled before it was done, and I offered my services, because that's what I've done for the last 15 years, is safety. And I got no response from, Greg. I talked to him. He was supposed to get with me, and I'd sit down with him and help him with this. This right here is a blanket, just like somebody wrote it to fit everything, and it don't fit nothing in Benton County. There's no money. It says money will be approved. It talks about if Greg does everything in this plan, he'll do nothing else, because it's that extensive on him. Now, there's a lot of education in here about training and stuff, who trains, who's authorized to train, so much stuff, folks. And I'd ask you that, I can't support this the way it is based on what I know about safety and occupational health, because that's what I've done. And I've done it for 1,800 full-time employees. So, the thing is that we can pass this, and all you're passing is something that got passed last time when Gary Evans was the safety person that never done any safety stuff. And I'm not saying anything about Greg, but Greg needs to be trained if he's going to be the safety guy, director, But I can't imagine having this and say we got a plan when this plan doesn't do anything. Yeah, we got it from the state. Well, we know you got a blanket thing, and it doesn't really give you specifics on who's gonna do what, you know? And so I say that, I would like to amend this to, postpone it 3 months to get with Greg from the mayor's office and, come up with a plan that works for Benton County.
If I may.
Sure.
We're already 3 months past their original deadline. I mean, they are begging for this, and this was the version that was put forward before I came back. I just took the same plan. I saw the notes that it looked like you were going to follow up on this to drive in some more clarity. I'm just saying, we're 3 months past due already, and the state is calling for something. Now, maybe we pass it and amend it, or maybe we need to find a version that's catered to us. I doubt we've got the time and expertise and knowledge to draw one up. I think that's why you invested yourself and take this on, because you have that safety experience and background. But I'd be more than happy to come to my office tomorrow or the next day, and let's see if we can get with another county and just find another county that's got one already in place instead of recreating the wheel. Maybe we look at, a peer and try to adopt one of theirs. But I can just say, time is of the essence. Let's postpone it for 1 month and come back next month and do something. But, 4 months is not much than 3 months, right? But I'm going to say if we go 6 months, this could disqualify us on grants or whatever that the state has issued based around TOSHA or OSHA type related projects that we've done, in the past. So maybe let's just postpone it a month and come back. You and I need to sit down and reach out to another county and try to get something done, so.
Okay, well, your safety person that you're going to have, he needs to be involved in it. I talked to him and he acted like he didn't know anything about it.
And again, the safety person was our highway supervisor prior to Greg.
No, it was Gary Evans.
Well, again, a part-time commissioner, again, we don't really have the personnel, and it's, we're just going to designate someone, but then if you hire someone, then you get criticized for hiring someone. You know what I mean? It's like, we're already understaffed in our building, county building. We've got literally 2 people max in that department, so now we're throwing a safety realm on them. I'm just saying that sit down with me and let's see what the plan we can come up with, but we need to have something by next month. We're already past the deal.
And I'm with you, Mayor. I think that, when we talk about this, Greg, it needs to be where each department, the school system has their safety people, which they probably do. They'll do this part for the schools. They'll send the information to him. There was a thing about imminent danger. Calling him. Well, if there's imminent danger, stop whatever's going on and get your people away from there, and it's not imminent danger anymore, but it needs to be fixed. See what I'm saying? Okay. So there's things in there that just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Okay, next is Commissioner Fowler.
Well, I think touch base on that a little bit. Does the school have its own safety? They do have their own safety personnel. And is this, on the other side, is this another paying job or another position?
No, Greg has already been compensated for this position.
Is that part of his?
Yes, he is being paid $1,000 a year for this position. It's a supplement.
On top of his regular salary?
On top of his regular salary for him.
Sheriff's side, I think,
You have a sheriff? You have your own there too, correct?
we're all safety there, and also with the performance.
Well, that's, like Terry King there says, he was our safety NCO, and I was the safety NCO up here at the DOD. So there's a lot to this. There's a lot of classes I used to have to go in for this.
So the protocol ought to be, Commissioner Keen, I really, just let me rescind the resolution. Instead of us going through motions or whatever, I'll just rescind the resolution, pull it, we'll come back next month. But I would like to sit down, we need to come up with something pretty quick. Because I've got emails from the state saying, where is it? So I pull the motion.
Thank you.
Could
Or pull the resolution.
Yes, Commissioner Hill.
My concern with the resolution is, in regardless of whether we pass it now or a slightly modified version, if we pass this, you know, yes, it'll help us get grants or stuff, but if we pass this without actually doing what this says,
I agree.
if an employee or somebody gets injured, this is going to hang us in a lawsuit. Well, gee, by your own safety resolution, you're doing this, this, and that, when we're not really doing it, we're screwed. So if we do bring this back, it needs to be accurate and breathable and workable.
Thank you. Any, Commissioner Burke?
Kevin Seaton is at the electric company. Takes 2 years to be qualified for that position. And like she said, God forbid anybody gets hurt. I don't know if Greg understands it. That's who they're gonna come after. We had a man die at the electric company. And I know firsthand what's gonna come down. It's a very serious job.
It is.
Any other commissioner want to ask a question? I would like to ask the mayor one question, if it's okay with y'all. Anybody opposed? If Greg Pfeiffer is hired as this safety director, it is a full-time position. I've been told by other people that's in these positions. Will he be resigning from his job as maintenance?
You know, I think we got to look at what our means are, and I believe just like our OSHA and TOSHA representative, he is that. He's not technically our safety director. He is our TOSHA representative and OSHA representative, so, which has a lot of safety protocols built into it. But technically, he is not the safety director. He is simply our representative for TOSHA and OSHA, and that's up for the commission to decide. I mean, do y'all want to fund another position? And we need to know more about that. We need to talk to other counties about that. You know, we're adding personnel. That's going to be a budgetary item. I don't believe we need to do anything on that level until about another 6 months before we can do our due diligence of adding a particular position, because y'all been military too. You know, it's pretty much going to be one of those deals where you're hired for this, but you're just given a safety designation, which we're doing right now. But that's the way we're able to make it work. But there's a lot of liability to this, and these are those things we all need to discuss as a body. We can't make a decision on this tonight. So the reason we were putting a plan is probably like we've been doing for decades, right? We've got grants from the Tennessee state government that are tied. The defined language is probably tied to safety and OSHA and TOSHA and ADA and those type of requirements. So we risk disqualification of grants that we've either been awarded already or ones that are pending right now. So let's not take too long in adopting a plan, but if y'all feel like we need a safety director, let's begin that process. We'll work together on that.
The actual plan that you have tonight is similar to the one that you had back when Gary Evans was the safety person, with a few things changed. So it was there. When I asked Ashley for the reference in the last, it had a reference on it, she couldn't find it. So the only one she found was the one that was Gary Evans was appointed as a safety person. So you still got that, valid or not, until something else comes out. And it's just like this one, it says nothing, really. So, but yeah, I'll work with you and Greg and come up with something that will make it where it's balanced, that each department can manage their part, and then him only being the funnel up.
Okay.
So it takes his lot off on him versus.
And maybe we keep the position, but pay them a little more. You know, it's like for the added responsibility that they're taking on. But again, you and I we'll have a good talk on this over the next month. So I'm going to pull the resolution tonight, okay?
Okay. So that one has been pulled. We didn't get a second on it anyway, so.
Actually, we did.
Number 13 on your agenda, a resolution to transfer funds in the amount of $170,000 from the Benton County Schools to the county primary government for debt service payments during the 2022-2023 fiscal year. We have a motion by Commissioner Stokes and a second by Commissioner Melton. Any questions? Okay, I see none, so everyone please vote.
Rocky Preston.
Vote yes.
Thank you. Anyone wish to change their vote? It's 14 yes, no, 0 no. Motion carries.
Number 14 is the resolution appropriating funds in the amount of $8,136 from the jail, workhouse, courthouse litigation tax reserve account in order to complete a phone system upgrade for the Benton County Sheriff Department. I have a motion by Commissioner Hall and a second by Commissioner Burke. Any questions? Okay, if none, please vote.
Rocky Preston.
Vote yes.
Thank you.
This does take 2/3 vote because it's appropriating money.
Anyone wish to change your vote? 14 yes, 0 no.
Number 15, resolution appropriating funds in the amount of $18,733.20 from the jail, workhouse, courthouse litigation tax reserve in order to upgrade the county jail with a new finger and palm scanner. Motion by Commissioner Melton, second by Commissioner Hall. Any questions about the scanner? If none, please vote.
Rocky Preston.
Vote yes.
Gary Fur. Anyone wish to change your vote? Motion carries. 14 yes.
Okay, resolution number 10 is number 16 on the agenda. Resolution to appropriate $5,000 TCAD grant received by the Senior Citizen Center from the state of Tennessee that was not fully expended within the fiscal year 22 and reverted back to the unassigned fund balance within the county general fund. Any questions? Okay, everyone vote, please.
Rocky Preston.
Rocky votes yes.
Ward Plant. Anyone wish to change your vote? Motion carries. 14 yes.
Next is the appointing of notaries. We have Kimberly Plunk, Jonathan Newcomb, Sarah Huff, William Blow, and Jeffrey Crutchfield. We have a motion by Phil Melton, a second by Mike Nunnery. All in favor of approving your notaries, please vote.
Rocky Preston.
Rocky votes yes.
Okay.
Anyone wish to change your vote? Motion carries. 14 yes.
Number 18, we're down to any other business. Any commissioner want to speak on any other business? Okay. Sheriff Christopher, you're recognized.
Commissioner, I got something that I'd like to see if we can get this straightened out or whatever. We've got mandatory training that we have to go to from time to time, and I've got one coming up. And we've been trying to get this worked out for the last few weeks. The way it's set up, I've always went through training. I got there, I took the Visa card with me, and I had my reservations. I got there and I paid for the Visa card. Now I'm being told that I can't do it, and I have to pay it all up front, and then I have to reimburse. I don't know what to change, because that's what I've done all in the past. So we made a reservation, and the training is a week long, and it's the biggest training we have in the year, and it's mandatory training, we have to be there. And I guess I can pay it up front to get my money back, but I don't know why we're having to do that if we have travel and we have a reason for that. Also, I've given them the exact numbers of what, I'm going to stay a day before and a day after while I'm there, but I'm paying my part on all of that. I'm paying all of that up front, already paid it. I just don't know why we can't do that. I don't know what's changed, and where the real problem comes in is I've got correctional officers, I've got deputies and stuff that from time to time, they have to go to places. Or in the middle of the night, we may have to send an officer to wherever to pick up the prisoner. And it may be far enough away that he has to spend the night in motel. Now, is he gonna have to, we're gonna have to do something, or is he gonna have to walk around with $300 in his pocket or his credit card for him to pay that and wait to get the money back? Rochelle has come up today and talked with Ashley a couple of times, and I may be missing something, but I don't understand what's changed, because 3 months ago, I went to more training that I have to go to. When I went, I just simply carried my card with me, and that's what we paid for. So I don't know what's changed.
This is what I suspect, okay? I'm not speaking on the specific authority, but let's just say you put something on your credit card that's required for a deposit or something like that, and if you're making an advance reservation, you know, you put that on the county credit card. It's not charged, it's just holding as a security deposit, so to speak. But let's say we're a hotel, you go and you're supposed to just get a single room, but then you get a suite. Okay, well, that goes to the company credit card, right? And now we're in a reimbursement mode. We have to go back and say, well, you were only for $150, but your room was $250, and so there's a $100 differential. So I think a lot of the process is to build in that security mechanism by saying, all right, if you pay it on your credit card and you bring us a receipt, now we can scrutinize that we're going to pay $150, not $250. Things like that. And the same things can happen with meals. I do believe there are times when, if you're going on a company or county-related training, that our credit card should be used. I mean, a lot of people don't have credit limits, or, you know, that's why I believe that we need a county vehicle. We probably need a couple of them, and so that when you go somewhere, at least we're eliminating personal liability. You know, you're taking a county car, not your personal car, and so you're not harmed in a way if something happens representing the county. But I would be all for us looking at our travel policies and revising that a little bit. So long as you can make the base reservations, I think it's all going to be good. I'm okay personally in approving you putting that on the credit card, but it's subject to, we want to see the itemized statement of all your activity that relates to it.
This is a state rate, is what we're getting at the wilderness is where it's at, and that's a state rate. That's what we pay everywhere that we have to go. We always use the state rate. If it's anything other than that, the person pays it. But in this case, it's, you know, it's a reasonable amount of money because it's for a week to where it's at. But just an overnight stay, maybe you have to run to Chicago, pick up an inmate from the court requires us to get it. They have to lay out and sleep before they come back. So, are we going to be able to, we've always just handed it the card, they went down it. And Rochelle talked with Ashley, so I wasn't there. I don't know everything was said. But my reservation date, we started this a month ago, and I paid mine ahead. But we got to do something on it like tomorrow.
I'm okay with putting it on the county side of it, you know, but, and just providing us an itemized statement. And here's another thing. We're already outside our gas mileage from our previous policy that we passed. So I believe it's paying 62 cents now from the state rate, and I think we're at 48 or 51, somewhere in that.
57, sir.
Okay, so we're already under that. So that's a policy that probably, we need to build some flexibility in there when you're at least on county business and you're representing the county. And so another to-do, chalk that up on another to-do list.
When we get that done in the morning,
yeah.
When I get that cleared, I think I guess it needs clearance to, she said to check with you.
I got you.
Can I say something on that? My last class that I was gonna go to, I even have the statement of how much it's gonna be each night and the class and everything for you to go. But I was told that you have to pay for it first and then come back. So is that something for everybody then?
And I think it's because we wrote that in our own policy. You know, we're breaking our own policy that we passed to a degree. So maybe we need to, under any other business, suspend the travel policy for tonight? I mean, just to cover something like that? If y'all want to, but I'm sure we break the rules on things that we don't know we're breaking the rules on. I'm okay with whatever it takes to get it done on county business, but that's something we need to come back to the table with and firm up a little bit, so.
Every quarter, just so everybody knows, every quarter, the Sheriff Association, we have to meet, and that's where we have our classes for the year. And so every quarter, we usually go to Murfreesboro, Franklin, whatever it is, it's usually 2 to 3 days. So normally we just make the reservation over there and pay for the cost. I want to get that cleared up with the city, because some of my people might not be able to, middle of the night, you come into work and you say, well, okay, you're going to have to make this trip tonight. They go off somewhere, they may not have $300 in their pocket, they'll take the motel bill and pay for the food and everything, and bring the tickets back. And so, only other option is them call me and they get up in the middle of the night and they'll give me some money.
And just in defense of Jean, she's just following our own policy, so let's not blame her all the way, but I'm okay. Like I said, we'll have you an answer in the morning.
Okay, thank you. That's all I got.
Any others?
Do you want to make a ruling on tonight, suspend the rule order to
On what item?
bring that up on the travel?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. It'd probably keep us out of trouble a little bit, meaning from breaking our own policy. So,
Make that motion, but you word it the way you want it worded.
well, hold on, that's first things first, so I'll let the chairman run us through the proper agenda and the proper time for that, so.
Any other business before we move on to suspending the rules? Okay, now the floor is open. Commissioner Ward, if you want to suspend the rules.
Just make the motion that we change the travel
To suspend the rules.
Suspend the rules first. Okay, do I have a second to suspend the rules?
Second.
Okay, second.
Hold on 1 second.
Second was Stephen and Terry both.
There you go. Now, need
Ward Plant.
Ward.
and the rules.
And who was the second?
Stokes or King, either one.
Okay, King just did it anyway. Okay. You ready for a vote? Madam Chair?
Okay. So I'll vote to suspend the rules.
Rocky?
Rocky votes yes.
Gary votes yes, too.
Thank you. Anyone wish to change your vote?
Rules are suspended.
The motion carries 14 yes on that.
Okay, so what is your motion?
To word the travel to fit the need of what we have to prevent.
Well, you can't reword the policy. I'm just going to say, let's just suspend the travel policy in place to allow a mayoral approval of company-related business, something of that nature that will get us through this particular issue. Ultimately, it's going to run back through our office anyway for reimbursement, but it would give the sheriff the needed flexibility to conduct this training class.
So it's suspend the travel policy.
In place for 1 month.
Okay.
When is this, Sheriff? When is?
I think leave August the 6th.
So I'd say until the next commission meeting or whatever.
Okay.
Until next commission. Yeah, do until next commission. Okay. I hate this mouse. I'm buying new batteries. Okay. Suspend the travel policy in place until next commission meeting. Need a motion and a second.
Motion by, okay, the motion was by Commissioner Plant.
Plant.
He stated the motion.
Okay, well, I can take. Where's
Because that was when we got
Motion of that. Who was in my second?
Second, I think it had Terry King.
Okay.
Thought your name was on it, Kenneth.
Madam Chair, we ready for a
Okay,
vote?
now we're ready for a vote, please. To suspend the rules for 1 month.
Rocky Preston,
Rocky votes yes.
Gary votes yes.
Gary, I was getting there, sorry. waiting for that one. Anyone else? We should change your vote. 14 yes, motion carries.
Okay, now I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I just want to say one thing. The proclamation that you have in your notes section, I don't know if y'all attended, but Mr. Tim Pafford's 80th birthday was on July the 6th. We issued a county proclamation basically naming July 6th Tim Pafford Day. And for those of you who know Tim Pafford, know, his impact on the community and the way he represents Benton County history, the ambassadorship that he gives Benton County in all of his paintings. So I felt like that was a great gift from y'all, the county, to remember him. And again, if you see a significant member of your community you want to honor, just run them by me, and we'll do this again, so.
Okay, anything else?
Chairman, can we go through the resolutions again?
No, sir, we cannot. Okay, do I hear entertain a motion to adjourn by Brett Burke and a second by Phil Melton. Please vote on your tablet to adjourn.
It's a voice vote.
Oh, I thought you used to want us to.
I did, but we changed it to simplify for you.
Okay, all in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye. Stand up, please.
Does anyone oppose?
I oppose.
Did you do that so we could shut off our tablets early?
No, I did that because you all should.
I thought so.
Okay.